WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is Game Night with Josh Hinnick.
It's good!
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
And he scored!
Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio, here's Josh Hinnick.
Thursday Night Football is back here on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 7:30 tonight. Eagles back in action on Monday night. Coverage begins at 7 here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hinnick hanging out with you on a Thursday night. Rob Motti from the Associated Press will talk all things NFL with us coming up in less than 20 minutes from now. As always, you guys can join the conversation at 609-403-0973 in your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. See how, off night for the Phillies, so we don't have to spend a lot of time talking about the Phillies, although I do have a specific point I want to get to about the Phillies. Some interesting Eagles news I didn't want to get to as well on the show, but let's kind of like do a little bit of a everything you need to know at the top of the hour here. So the Eagles did come out with their first injury report of the week. And the injury report has basically nobody missing practice. They describe Rodgers and Devin White as part of the injury report, but both were considered full participants at practice. Milton Williams has a foot issue, but he was limited at practice. So, I think it's fair to say that the Eagles are pretty healthy. The bigger news today was Devin White, when he came out and said, and this is going to be something we need to monitor, because Devin White made the comment that he was surprised when he found out the Eagles had basically, I don't think it's the right way to say it, but he was surprised that the Kobe Dean was declared the starter by Vic Fangio. But he said he's going to work to help still benefit the team in his current role. And the reason why this story is something to keep an eye on is because there has been a lot of people who have inferred, speculated, suggested, whatever you want to call it, that part of the reason why Hassan Reddick isn't here is because he was a problem in the locker room. And the reason why that is significant is because of the fact that when you look at what the Eagles were trying to do last year coming into this year, they were trying to change the environment. They're trying to upgrade the roster. They're trying to better put a better quality of talent on the field as well as in the locker room. Well, we have to have a legitimate conversation about whether or not Devin White is going to be the problem child in the locker room. Now, if he isn't, no harm, no foul. But you're talking about a guy who's a first-round pick, a guy who, for all intents and purposes, everyone in Tampa was not exactly too sad to see him leave. So you think about the big picture of this story. If Devin White is saying, "Oh, I'm surprised that I'm not the starter, but I'm going to look to contribute in whatever my role is." That sounds great in theory, but I'm a little concerned that Devin White is playing so, for lack of a term, oblivious to the whole thing. I'm not a fan of that. I kind of feel like Devin White is being a bit disingenuous. I don't think the Eagles are an organization that would mislead someone or lie to someone. There's no Chip Kelly here anymore. This is Vic Fangio, folks. Vic is as brutally honest as it gets. There's no reality where Vic Fangio didn't tell anyone that Kobe Dean wasn't the starting middle linebacker. I had trouble seeing that for 1 minute. So either Devin White is lying, or he is trying to present a new set of information. Either way, I'm a little concerned. I'm keeping an eye on this moving forward because, again, this organization cannot have another toxic guy in the locker room. And I am not reporting that Hassan Reddick was a toxic individual, but it has been suggested the problem in the Eagles locker room last year was Reddick. Part of the problem, not all the problem, obviously, because every player and their cousin has pointed to coaching last year as the problem. Specifically the defensive coordinators. The other part with the Eagles, I'm looking at going into this weekend, and we'll do more of a breakdown of the Eagles and Falcons tomorrow and Monday here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Henning hanging out with you on a Thursday night. I am very curious about what exactly is going on when it comes to, and I'm just using this as an example, what exactly is going on when it comes to the Falcons? Because there is a legitimate question to be asked about how much of what we saw in week one was the real Falcons and how much that was a byproduct of the Falcons defense. TJ Watt made a comment this week that I thought was interesting. Now, he might have told the media this tongue in cheek, but I definitely think it's something to keep in your mind, in the back of your mind. TJ Watt told the media this week, the Steelers linebacker, pass rusher, defensive player of the year, etc. He said that he could start at quarterback for a Texas high school football team right now and help them win games. The reason why I find that comment significant is because it goes to show you about the caliber of player that the Falcons were facing last week. The Steelers defense looks incredible this year. And I have to wonder how much of the Falcons' struggles was a byproduct of facing a Steelers defense that was more than ready to shut them down. And how much of what we saw last week from the Steelers, can that be replicated by the Eagles? I tend to think it can be, and here's why. A lot of what you saw the Steelers run was not exclusively Steelers plays or Steelers blitz packages or only stuff that TJ Watt can do. Frankly, the Eagles have a freakazoid on defense named Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter should have a massive impact on this game on Monday night. Not just because he's Jalen Carter, but because if we're being realistic, it's not like Atlanta has the greatest offensive line in the world. You could actually make an argument that the Packers have a better offensive line than the Falcons do. And the Falcons' offensive line barely survived that game on Sunday. For those who didn't watch the Steelers and Falcons games as closely as I did, a couple of their offensive linemen got injured in that game, and they came back. Now, again, they came back. So it's not like those guys are not going to play this week. But Caleb McGarry was limited at practice. Chris Lindstrom left that game for part of it on Sunday. So you got two banged up offensive linemen. Philadelphia should have the talent, between Jalen Carter and Josh Sweat and Bryce Huff and Zach Bond. They should have the players to go get the quarterback, especially a quarterback who is as immobile as Kirk Cousins is. Let's be realistic. Kirk Cousins is not going to run away from a blitz anytime soon. So can Philadelphia replicate what the Steelers did on Sunday? Or does Atlanta make the appropriate adjustments to get the ball out of Kirk Cousins' hands faster and get the receivers open quicker? I think those are two very important keys going into the game Monday. Can the Eagles replicate what the Steelers did, number one? And number two, if the Falcons make adjustments, what is the Eagles' answer to those adjustments? Because guys like Darnell Mooney, you can get those guys open and load those quick little slant routes. Guys like Drake London, Kyle Pitts, you get them lined up against smaller people, they will jump over them. So how can the Eagles take advantage of a Falcons team that is still trying to find their way? Talk about that and more coming up with Bills and Dolphins tonight here on 97.3 ESPN. And things are not looking good in Chicago. Get into all that more with Rob Meyer from the Associated Press coming up next here on 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on a Thursday night.
Tom McCarthy here from Thursday Night Football at Westwood One. Join Ross Tucker and me for Week 2 NFL action between two of last year's playoff teams when Josh Allen and the new-look offense Bills travel south to take on Tua Tagovailoa and the high-flying Dolphins. Both are coming off impressive wins in Week 1 and hope to grab the early AFC East division lead. It's Buffalo at Miami on Thursday Night Football.
Listen to Thursday Night Football on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Coverage begins at 7:30.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City, a community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
If I was to describe this sandwich in one word, I would say magical. Hi, this is Jamor, and the little thing that I love about the Chick-fil-A honey pepper pimento chicken sandwich is that extra oomph. I go back and forth from the spicy filet to the original filet. I get into the sweetness of the honey, then you have the extra kick from the spicy filet. The combination alone takes it over the top. It's award-winning.
The Chick-fil-A Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich is back with a bite. Try it with the original or spicy filet, now for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonial.
What's better than one win? 3 wins. With Straight Savings, you keep your own phone, get one line for only $25 a month with real unlimited data, and get rewarded with a $200 phone credit after 12 months. It's a win-win-win. Head to Walmart or visit straighttalk.com today. Switch to Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Straight Savings Plan enrollment requires compatible unlocked device and new line of service. Bonus device credit requires 12 months of active service. Offer ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. Taxes and fees apply. For network management practices, see Straight Talk's terms and conditions.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $200 in bonus bets when they bet $5. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bet. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in New Jersey. Terms and conditions apply.
A Gain Scent Bead story. Jim was at the laundromat when he heard his ear said, "Maraca, senor," but his nose said, "Hey, freshest scent ever." Following his nose, Jim found a man pouring a bottle of Gain Scent Beads into the washer. The scent, the freshness. Jim blurted, "Sir, your scent Maraca smell amazing." Actually, Jim, most noses call them Gain Scent Beads. Try Gain Scent Beads, way fresher than detergent alone.
It's hurricane season. Are you prepared? Don't get left in the dark. Calvi Electric, a certified Generac dealer, has you covered. From installation to maintenance, they're your go-to experts for Generac generators, ensuring your home stays powered through any storm. A Generac home standby generator will automatically restore power to your home during an outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Put your trust in Calvi Electric, the premier electrical contractor serving South Jersey for over 115 years. Visit calvielectric.com today or call 609-345-0151.
It's common knowledge that after age 30, our metabolism changes. We have less energy and gain weight easier. There's a way to feel better, not in years or months, but sometimes in just days.
I'm Chuck Norris. I tried everything. Working with a team of health experts, we came up with Morning Kick. Morning Kick is a revolutionary new formula that combines all my favorite supplements into one daily drink.
Morning Kick has probiotics to help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and powerful anti-aging supplements. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, and helps manage stress.
I look and feel better than I have in years.
Go to roundhouseprovisions.com, use code SUPPORT or text SUPPORT to 511-511 and claim 40% off. Roundhouseprovisions.com, code SUPPORT.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee. You could be feeling these changes within just a couple of days.
Text SUPPORT to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
Powered by the all-new BetParks New Jersey Casino and Sportsbook app. BetParks.com. This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
A new rendering for the 76ers' possible stadium in Camden, New Jersey has been released. I'm Nick Earnshaw with your South Jersey Sports Center with your 97.3 ESPN. Question of the day. The questions surrounding where the Sixers' new arena will be continue to swirl with a new portrait of a possible location in Camden being released. With that being said, our 97.3 ESPN question of the day is, where is the best spot for the Sixers' new arena? Let us know by texting 609-403-0973 or use the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. You know, I'm starting to change my tune a little bit. That rendering in Camden looks pretty good with the Phillies skyline behind it. That may be just the best spot for the 76ers at this point. And being from Jersey, that'll be a lot easier to get to than going over the bridge. Once again, text in at 609-403-0973. Your forecast is next.
Save thousands at Matt Blatt Kia. Get out of your old trade today, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Go to mattblattkianj.com for more details. That's mattblattkianj.com.
It's got to be a
Matt Blatt Kia.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zero. Tomorrow, we'll see some impacts from the remnants of Francine in the form of clouds. And that's it. Still no rain in sight for another 4 or 5 days at least. Patchy fog is likely again tonight. It'll be comfortable, but not as cool as it has been. Low temperature around 63. Tomorrow, expect sun and clouds, high of 79. Saturday, 81. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get a $50 gift card good for use at Bagel University in Vineland for just $25.
Get this great deal starting Friday at 9 a.m. at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. For more info on this great deal, go to seizethedeal.com.
SeizeTheDeal.com. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
We'll check back on the text board in just a bit at 609-403-0973 in your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. But as promised, right now, joining us ahead of the start of NFL Week 2, Rob Motti, senior NFL writer for the Associated Press, joins me here on 3 ESPN. Rob, welcome back. How you doing today?
Doing well, Josh. How are you? Getting ready for some football tonight in South Florida.
Yeah, it's how far is that game actually from where you're at, Bob? I mean, Rob, it's gotta be like a couple hours.
Good question. Almost was going to go there, but didn't. 4.5 hour. Yeah, 4.5 hour drive, hour 15-minute flight. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a never mind. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, exactly. The Tyreek situation, and it was. I do prefer Thursday and Monday night games. I'll actually be at Eagles Atlanta on Monday because it allows me to watch the Sunday games from home where I don't have to play as much catch up because you're at a game. I was at the Commanders and Buccaneers at 4 o'clock, 4:25 start, and really missed a lot of action on Sunday. Was catching up all night and all day Monday.
Well, I missed some action, but for a completely different reason on Sunday because I actually had a Sunday where I was not working, Rob, for the first time in a while. And I thought I'm going to go out like normal people do and watch the game. And I made the mistake of going to 2 places that didn't have the games on. So
how could anywhere not have games on Sunday?
well, what happened was the one place, all the TVs were the Phillies for some reason, and they were losing by like 10-0, a few innings in. And then the other place I went to, all the positioning of the TVs that had the football on versus the TVs that had the Phillies game on, it was a mess. So I was like a vagabond. I was like in search of like the Holy Grail or something.
Oh my gosh! You think at 5, 6, 7-0, you flip on. Everybody's got fantasy teams and whoever's betting on the action. Like that's how you keep the people in there drinking for 12 hours.
Well, guess what? Instead of going to local bars and restaurants, I ended up having to go to local breweries to watch the game. So
that's interesting, man. That's very interesting. Shocking.
Yeah. I don't want to name any names on the radio because none of them are advertisers, positive or negative. So, but
nor should they be at this point.
But Rob, what's interesting to me is that you mentioned about this past weekend. Kurt Warner made a comment on Monday Night Football's Westwood One coverage where he said, this is the worst quarterback play he has seen in week 1 of NFL season that he can remember. What is your takeaway from NFL week 1? Because there was a lot of poor quarterback play.
There was. I believe the average was 188.3 passing yards per team, which is the fewest amount of yards since week 15 way back in 2007. So that's 17 years that it hasn't been that low. 17 quarterbacks under 200 yards, which is like pedestrian anymore, right?
Wow.
That's also the least since 2007. So I think I was surprised by that. I think a lot of people were surprised by that. I don't expect this is a passing league, Josh. It's not going to stay that way. Those numbers will be up probably in week 2 and then continue to steadily climb. But I think part of the reason behind that is a lot of these quarterbacks aren't playing in the preseason. And when you're sitting out in the preseason, and I don't care what coaches say about developing continuity and treating the joint practices as if they're preseason games, it just doesn't translate. It's not in a joint practice. A quarterback is not getting, they're still wearing a red jersey. They're not going to get hit. They don't have to be as concerned about feeling the pressure, about getting blindsided, about anything along those lines, about getting the ball out quicker because they're about to get smashed. Then you get into a game, you're still trying to feel some quarterbacks, as in the case of Jalen Hurts, new system, new offensive coordinator. We saw some great, we saw some bad out of him. So I think a lot of it has to do with the lack of preseason snaps that these quarterbacks are getting. There's no continuity. There's lack of chemistry. They're on the field for the first time with guys when they can get hit. And some of them are new receivers. Some of those guys they're working with for the very first time in actual game situations. So that's why I think you see a lot of sloppiness, a lot of rustiness, a lot of ineffective play. Now, in some cases, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, 2 guys haven't played in a long time. Rodgers over a year or almost a year. 9/11 would have been the anniversary, and Kirk Cousins at least missed half of last season. They're just not. They're a little bit out of sync. It's going to take them a little bit more time. So it was nice to see the running backs, Josh. They stepped up. Last year we talked all about running backs not getting paid. This offseason they got paid a little bit better, and their numbers were up. I believe they were like teams averaged 128, somewhere in that range running the football.
Rob, you mentioned Jalen Hurts. Let's get to him because, I wrote an article about this at 973ESPN.com earlier this week. NFL Next Gen Stats showed that the 2 interceptions Hurts threw were when the Eagles did not run motion. The Eagles ran motion on 67% of their plays. So when they ran motion, Hurts had 212 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Is it fair to say that maybe people are overreacting a bit to the Hurts interceptions on Friday, considering that they were literally specific play situations?
I wouldn't necessarily say it's an overreaction. I love the 15 for 21, 212 in pre-snap. I love the 6 for 7, 91 yards and a touchdown against the blitz. I do not like the fact that he rushed some throws, made some poor decisions. Before that second interception, Josh, in the end zone, which should have never happened. You're winning the game. You want to seal it with a field goal. And he puts the ball up like that dangerously. But the play right before that should have had a pick six. He made an errant throw that was dropped by whoever the Packer defender was there along the sideline. He had another would have been interception if not for A.J. Brown playing cornerback and making a great play to separate the football from the defender. I believe it was Jair Alexander on that particular one. So for as much as Jalen produced big plays and did well in a lot of situations, it's still a concern that there are 2 picks, that there are a couple others that should have been picked, and then some of the decision making in the read option, RPOs, the zone read. Like there was one particular one I recall where he should have given a ball to Saquon Barkley. Like I'm watching it develop on TV. You see a lane for Saquon, and instead Jalen kept it and lost the yard or 2. Saquon could have, if he gave it to him, could have had a few yards, maybe busted loose up the middle. So some of those decisions I think are a product of early in Kellen Moore's system, still feeling his way, still learning, didn't have opportunities as much in the preseason. Obviously, he didn't take a snap in a game. But for all the talk about, hey, Jalen's not throwing any interceptions throughout training camp, that sure didn't translate it in week 1. Not at all. 2 picks, 2 others at least that should have been picked. And you take the good, you build off it, you take the bad, you got to learn from it, and hopefully he learns from it.
Well, I will say since the start of the 2023 season, Jalen Hurts has thrown 17 interceptions in his last 18 regular season starts. So the interceptions thing has been an issue. I will say I will disagree slightly on one thing, because I do understand where you're coming from about the play before the second interception. I felt the first interception was a little more concerning because that was Xavier McKinney, his former Alabama teammate for 2 years. And if you go back and rewatch that, as you know, I have no time to actually go out and have fun anymore, Rob. I work. So I spend way to go out and have fun. I had to run around the nation fighting football. But the rest of the week, when I rewatched the Eagles game, I saw that McKinney, that was not his original slot in the field. If you watch the play out, McKinney was actually far to the left. He eventually came back to the middle because he realized that that's where Jalen was going. And I'm a little concerned that if guys who know Jalen might understand his tendencies a little bit, and that Kellen Moore is going to need to break him out of some of those habits, because as you know, Rob, sometimes coaches have to, it's almost like when people say you have to break a horse like a stallion, right? You gotta get them to be more, in the mold that you need them to be. And we've seen it with guys like Baker Mayfield, right? Guys who had bad tendencies and coaches have had to snap them out of it.
And it's worked with certain guys. And I think that's a valid point, strong one that you're making there, Josh, because we've seen that in the past being a problem with Jalen, because some teams, some defenses kind of figured him out and were able to defend. And that's why his numbers last year in 23 didn't look like what they did in 2022. And the adjustments need to be made, both from him and from those around him coaching him. Head coach Nick Sirianni, certainly, and the offensive coordinator, the quarterback's coach. Everybody has to be able to look at what he's doing, what some of his tells are, what some of those things that he's allowing defenses to pick up on. And they got to be able to point it out to him, and he's got to correct it. He's got to fix those mistakes. But I think we saw a lot of that towards the end of the second half and the collapse last season. And there was predictability with the offense, and there was some predictability with what Jalen's going to do. So there's some work to be made there. It's good to be able to work off of some mistakes after you've put up 34 points and won a football game against a potential playoff team and a team that was in the playoffs and got to the divisional round last year. So it's better to be building off of a 34-29 win than it would be to be building off of a loss and then trying to catch up, and you're trying to avoid an 0-2 start. So I like where they're at, but they certainly need to get some more work done, because you're not going to keep winning football games this way. And I don't know if they've got a prolific offense, but if they're not putting up 34 points, they certainly are going to need that defense to do a heck of a better job than they did against Jordan Love and the Packers.
Talking with AP senior NFL writer Rob Motti, joining us here on 97.3 ESPN. Rob, one more Eagles thing I want to ask you about specifically is Devin White got a chance to talk to the media today, and he reacted to Vic Fangio yesterday saying that Nakobe Dean won the starting job in training camp. That's what Vic Fangio said yesterday. Well, today, Devin White basically made it sound like, I didn't know that, but I'm going to do whatever the team needs me to do. Is there a concern that this might be a problem, that Devin White is already trying to create a narrative that I didn't know I was going to be the starter? Or could this be legitimately a guy who just he didn't realize what the coach was doing? Because I just have trouble believing that an abrasive old guy like Vic Fangio isn't going to tell the guys who the starters are on defense.
Or, Josh, someone like Vic Fangio doesn't feel the need to share that information with Devin White because he feels like it should be obvious that the guy who stepped in and took your spot played well, and therefore go out there and earn the job. So,
but Rob, you know what that's like? That's like the your wife or your girlfriend who says, "Well, I expected you to do this," and you're like, how was I supposed to know you wanted this for Christmas, right? Like, you didn't never mention it in the last 6 months. You expect me to read your mind? Like, that's not fair.
Happens all the time with us, right? Happens all the time in certain situations. But Devin White had a little bit of that problem last year in Tampa Bay. Some issues as far as his injury and the team saying that, well, he wasn't ready. He's saying he's not ready to play. The team's saying that he may have been ready to play. And then it was kind of portrayed as, well, he's not going to play because he's disappointed that he's not the starter anymore and he lost his job. So there has been a little bit of history there with Devin White. Now, that said, I still believe in Devin White as a playmaking linebacker. I saw what he can do with the Buccaneers when he was at his best. I don't think he's dropped off that much. I think he's had some injury history, some issues with that have kind of contributed to it. He's also been a victim of bad luck because not every guy who gets hurt has a replacement step in and play well. That happened to him in Tampa Bay with KJ Britt, and that kind of happened to him here with Nakobe Dean. Now, Nakobe Dean wasn't Lawrence Taylor, but he had some good plays. He made some tackles for loss. He had a nice one big stick that was a tremendous pop behind the line of scrimmage, separated the receiver from the ball. And there were also some plays that, as coaches like to say, he would like to have back too as well. But I still think at some point the Eagles are going to need Devin White to contribute. I hope that line of communication between him and Vic Fangio can clear up so they're on the same page. I know the Eagles PR staff is sharp. And if they're going to make – was Devin White available in a scrum? Is that what it was like? If that's the case, I'm sure Bob, Brett, any of those guys, they're going to prepare them like, hey, Vic said this yesterday. Be ready. Philly media is going to ask you about not being the starter. So that's an interesting dynamic.
Well, we also got the situation where the 49ers running back Mason, he tells he was at least soldier after the game. Oh, I knew I was playing on Friday, and I'm sure the PR people were like losing their minds after that.
Oh,
so,
yeah,
you know,
that as soon as he says that, you're like, all right, here comes the NFL's got to look into, is it a slap on the wrist? Is it a fine? The 49ers are, well, in CMC's case, he was on the injury list. He just wasn't ruled out. This is like when Belichick, when he got the slap on the wrist or the fine, and like all of a sudden now 38 Patriots are showing up on the injury report as questionable, probable. They took away probable now. It's either questionable or doubtful or out.
Yeah, it's questionable, doubtful, out. Yeah.
I used to love the problem. The probable, you could have half. You could have 95% of the team probable. Well, he may not play. He may play. He should play. He's probable to play. But what if he wakes up with something? There's a probability of that. So I'm glad they did with the probable.
A couple of NFL questions for you, Rob, from around the league. This Hassan Reddick situation is getting ridiculous. I mean, now there's speculation he might get traded by the Jets to go somewhere else. Like, I don't even know what to do with this anymore, because I don't recall ever hearing or reading on or off the record that Hassan Reddick is a problem, right? I never seen or heard that anywhere from high school to college to the NFL. I mean, the guy literally went to high school less than an hour from where I'm sitting here in the 97.3 ESPN studios. So it's like, this guy is not a problem. So what? It's like the Vince Lombardi meme, right? It's what the hell is going on out here? Feeling it's like, this Reddick and the Jets thing is so perplexing to me.
Yeah, I just remember the last game when the Eagles lost to the Buccaneers. I was in the locker room, the wild card game, and Hassan was one of the very last people to speak to the media and kept speaking, talking about the season, the way it ended, his situation, not wanting to leave the Eagles. And then we obviously see how that transpired. The Jets certainly looked like they needed him when on Monday night against the San Francisco 49ers. They did not generate enough of a pass rush. He's a premier elite edge rusher in the NFL.
Yep.
And if you want to win, and you want to win now, you got to figure out a way to make this deal happen. But if I'm Howie Roseman, I'm calling my good friend Joe Douglas and saying, you know what? Appreciate the 3 that you gave us for Hassan Reddick. Here's a 5. We'll take him back. I don't know the ramifications of the salary cap and
that's a league investigation there, Rob. I mean,
here's a Eagles get a 3 for him and give him 5. That would be you put a statue of Howie up at that point if that happened. Immediately, I don't care what he does for one Super Bowl. He's already done that. If he finds a way to get Hassan Reddick back, and not that the Eagles are interested at this point, and they got their rotation, and the salary cap issue is what it would be if you bring in a player, and then you got to do all that. They didn't want to pay him before, but if somehow magically Howie, it's always Howie season. If he makes it happen, and you trade a 5 or a 6 or some conditional anything not as good as what you got for him, that's statue-esque material.
Yeah, that's like the scene from Draft Day when Sonny Weaver Jr. calls Seattle, says, "I want all my picks back." It's that's what that's like.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. Rob, I also wanted to know from you, because the Dolphins are playing the Bills tonight. You talked to Josh Allen this week, and I thought what he had to say was very interesting to you, because this is a guy who I personally believe, I'm mixing objective and subjective. My opinion is that I think the Bills have put him in a very no-win situation, because they've given him a lackluster amount of talent. I mean, they lost, 10, 12 starters from last year's team. He has lesser grade offensive weapons. He had to go into superhero mode this past Sunday. So I feel for him, because it's like the guys around the league are saying he's overrated. But yeah, I'm sure he's looking around. He may not say it out loud, but there's probably part of him. It's like, you see what I'm playing with, bro? It's kind of I just feel for him, because this dude, he reminds me of, Rob. It's like John Elway all over again. John Elway, this super elite freakazoid talent that Elway was. And remember, Elway never won a championship. He got to the Super Bowl, but he never won a championship till he had Hall of Famers all around him. And I'm starting to feel like, Terrell Davis, Shannon Sharp, and I mean, you could argue Rod Smith could be a Hall of Famer, right? That offensive line, that was an elite offensive line back in the 90s. You could argue Josh Allen is starting to walk that same path right now that Elway did.
Yeah, and you're right. He went into hero mode last week against Arizona, and I wonder how long he can continue to do that because it looks like he's got to do it week in and week out. Now, they did draft Keon Coleman, and hopefully he can develop for them into a number one. But when I'm talking to Josh and he's telling me Mac Hollins has kind of developed a leadership role on the team. Now, when he's talking about leadership, it's a leader in the locker room, in the wide receiver room, doesn't necessarily equate to being wide receiver one, and he's going to get all of the targets. But like, that's what we're talking about here. He doesn't have Stephon Diggs. Got the impression, not in my conversation, but in others that he had over the course of the offseason, that he wasn't too broken up about not having Stephon Diggs around. I think Stephon kind of wore on some people there in Buffalo and possibly Josh Allen. But yeah, he's in a position. He doesn't have an elite rushing attack. He doesn't have anything remotely close to all-pro caliber wide receivers at this point, and they're going to have to keep winning that way. Really interested to see how they fare tonight against Miami, a team that they've owned. I think it's 4 in a row, 5 of 6, 15 of 17 that the Buffalo Bills have beat Miami, but short week, traveling. Not sure what the heat situation is going to be like, but if Miami's like Tampa, it's going to be hot tonight, and that might take a little bit of a toll on Josh Allen and Buffalo. And obviously you got the Dolphins rallying around Tyreek Hill. Huge comeback win last week against the Jaguars, who gave it away when Travis Etienne fumbled at the goal line. So if Josh Allen can pull this one out, man, anybody who called him overrated, first of all, is like, it's shocking to me that players in the league say that. I can understand media saying that because media sometimes have their favorites or they have narratives that they want to fit. But if you play against Josh Allen and you call him overrated, I don't know what you're thinking. And I've always felt he's gotten more hate than he deserves.
Rob, before I let you go, because you are also the host of Faith on the Field, heard Saturday and Sunday mornings on 97.3 ESPN. You know, you're someone who's interviewed a lot of guys around the league, and you've talked to Patrick Mahomes multiple times. I got to admit, I love what he said this week when he said, I am not here to endorse political candidates. I am here to play football. I'm here to do what's best for my family. Like, he literally took what could have been a hot potato issue. It could have been a divisive thing. And he spun a net positive out of it and turned it into, he didn't go as far as Jordan, right? Back in the day, but like, you know, Republicans buy sneakers too.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, he turned it into, hey, man, that's not what I'm here for. And I just love the way he handled it. And I just want to know your thoughts on it.
Yeah, and by the way, Derrick Henry will be the guest this week. Spoke to him recently, Baltimore Ravens running back. So
Nice. That'll
be on Faith on the Field this week. But I thought Patrick Mahomes handled that about as good as you can. And I know there's a lot of athletes and a lot of entertainers who want to cross into the endorsement category and doing whatever it is. And they feel like, I think the way Patrick handled it is, I go back to old school journalism. So I'm not allowed to express any political opinions. I'm not allowed to take sides. So I certainly don't, because I'm not allowed to at the AP. And that to me is old school journalism, where you don't take sides, where you don't pick. Even to the point, Josh, of sports, like a fly Eagles fly, or let's go whatever. Like, I didn't finally let loose and say go Phils till I don't cover baseball anymore, right? and right now, if you ask me about the NFL, I don't care who wins on any given Sunday, as long as I get home to my family safe and sound. That's how I will answer that question. And I think Patrick answered that question the same way I would handle it. So shout out to him for doing that. I know I've said that. Now I'll tell you what I said on a different stage last week. When I spoke at a conference in Orlando, and I was asked the question, and I said, for me, politics from a Christianity standpoint pollute Christian hearts. And what I see is too many people become angry, contentious, bitter, and resentful of other people over politics. And my view has always been, I don't put my faith or my hope or my trust into any person, whether it's this side or that side at all. That's not who I'm trusting in. I don't believe they're going to save me from anything. I put my trust, my hope, my faith, my peace. I get my joy from Jesus Christ. And that's the way I look at it. So not to get overly, we'll save that for Faith on the Field, too deep into it. But that's how I look at it. I thought Patrick did a great job to answer your question in 5 minutes or less. There we go.
I do think of, and I'll let you go on this point, Rob. I do always think of when Jesus said, I believe it was in Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but he said, render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's and the things are God. And then he just walked away. He just like mic dropped the people. And, it's kind of like, people like to intermix stuff sometimes. And, literally, if you claim to be a believer in God and a Christian, and there's a lot of people who do claim those things, it's funny how God gives you pretty clear delineations on some of this stuff, and people don't like to follow them. I just
that's for sure. I think sometimes people lean on faith as a crutch or use it in one way or another,
or a cultural thing, right?
Yeah, I'm transparent about it. I say this all the time. Being a Christian doesn't make me better than anyone else. It does not. It does not make me a better person than you. It does not make me a better person than someone who is not at all. I'm a Christian because I'm not good enough on my own to be good. And I need Jesus to depend on to help me. And that's how I look at it.
Rob Maaddi, Faith on the Field, Saturday and Sunday mornings right here on 97.3 ESPN, covers the NFL for the Associated Press, at Rob Maaddi on the Twitter X platform. Great stuff today, Rob. Always appreciate you jumping on. Enjoy the game tonight.
Thanks, Josh. Keep up the great work.
Appreciate you. Rob Maaddi here on 97.3 ESPN FM and a 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Yes, I will give you my picks for the game tonight here on 97.3 ESPN. Bills, Dolphins tonight, and of course, Eagles on Monday night here on your home for Eagles football and the NFL in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN.
This is South Jersey's official home for Philadelphia Eagles football. The Eagles host the Atlanta Falcons in Week 2 of the 2024 season on Monday Night Football.
They cannot stop Saquon Barkley. How fun is that?
Listen to all the action with Merrill Reese and Mike Quick, with pregame coverage starting at 7 p.m. and kickoff at 8:15. This is the play-by-play home of the Philadelphia Eagles, 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's Eagles station.
Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's. Wrap up your workday with the all-new Chickies and Pete's Happy Hour, with unbeatable specials weekdays from 4 to 6 p.m. Enjoy half-price orders of Chickies meaty and tender wings, one of our tasty and delicious pizzas, or an order of mouth-watering hot, cold, or fried shrimp, plus $3 domestic bottled beers, $5 Tito's, and $6 seltzers. It's the all-new Happy Hour, weekdays 4 to 6 p.m., only at Chickies and Pete's. Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's. Now, for a limited time, it's buy one, get one free snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday. Buy one, get one free, and enjoy the sweet, delicate flavor of snowy white crab meat. Pair it with one of our handcrafted cocktails like the Stoli Vanilla Creamsicle or the Bourbon Peach Sweet Tea. Top it off with Chickie and Pete's world famous crab fries. Buy one, get one free snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday for a limited time. Restrictions apply only at Chickies and Pete's.
Febreze.
Fabric Talk. Hey, it's me, your couch. Today's my favorite day of the week. Febreze Fabric Spray Day. The occasional deep cleans are nice, but in between, I'm needing a refresh. Ooh, here she comes with the Febreze Fabric Spray. Oh yeah, spritz them armrests. Don't be shy. Nothing like a good spray down to get me smelling so fresh and clean. Don't forget my back. Nice. Febreze Fabric Spray. It's just that easy. Now we can both breathe happy. Febreze. La 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 la.
Good morning, Doctor.
Doctor?
Hi, Doctor. Doctor?
Dr. Jackson's practice is growing.
What do you mean we're still short-staffed?
He needs a good patient doctor.
How do we not have enough doctors to doctor all these patients?
And he doesn't have the patience to sift through hundreds of resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
My doctor told me my blood pressure is borderline. I figured I could worry about it or do something about it. So I took control with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula. It works safely and naturally to help maintain healthy blood pressure with a custom blend of garlic, vitamins, and minerals. And it's odor-free. I'm taking charge with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter. Locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America NA.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
New 2024 Nissan Rogue S, 0 down and 2.9% financing for 60 months. But when they're gone, they're gone. Have a trade? Bring it to AJ the Trade Man. He's paying cash, lots of cash, up to 120% more cash than KBB fair market value. Then drive home in your new 2025 Matt Blatt Nissan Kicks. Just $299 per month lease with 0 security deposits. And every new Matt Blatt Nissan comes with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Have a job clearing $450 per week at Matt Blatt Nissan? You're virtually approved today with 0 down and low 2.9% financing. MattBlattNissan.com. Approved Tier 1 credit for NEMAT. Negative equity will be refinanced with the new vehicle plus tax tag and $589 doc fee. Offers can't be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or go to MattBlattNissan.com for complete details. 24 months, 10,000 miles, $27.99 due through NEMAT. VIN RC 738396. MSRP 31,115. Offer ends 9/30/2024. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
Right now at Wendy's, you can get a small Frosty for $1. And literally everyone is going. The car behind you, going to get a $1 Frosty. The car ahead of you, already had one, going for a second. The person who cut you off earlier, you guessed it, $1 Frosty. Maybe it's all a sign for you to go get one. Just don't cut anyone off. No one likes that person. The iconic Frosty for $1, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Not valid in a combo. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, California, and via third-party delivery.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. And look at you, hands perfectly placed on the wheel. Not like the driver to the right of you who's really going after that drum solo. Save with DriveWise and the Allstate app and only pay a rate based on you.
Not available in every state, subject to terms and conditions. Rating factors and savings vary, and in some states your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams 4-day super sale and get 40% off paints and stains from September 13th through the 16th. With prices starting at $29.39, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your bedroom, living room, or home office, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
When it comes to wings in the Delaware Valley, nobody beats the Piccalilli Inn. Whether it's South Jersey's best wings, tails, or ears, let them know you're sauce champion. All 10 delectable flavors are going head-to-head to battle for number 1. When it's game day, you just gotta head to the Pick. Visit them on Facebook or at piccalilli.com for their Pick game specials. And be sure to pre-order to guarantee your spot in Sunday's lineup. Nobody beats the Piccalilli Inn. Visit the one, the only, the original Piccalilli Inn, Route 206 in Chemong.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennick on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Let's get you my picks. Josh Hennick here in the 97.3 ESPN studios. Of course, being brought to you by Fanatics Sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. Go to the gallery, go to Ocean, go for the win. For more, visit oceanac.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Jeff from Ocean City, yes, this is for you. You were the person who's been texting for the last hour, asking for the picks tonight. I think you had a rough day, my man. So here we go. There's 3 picks that I like tonight on Thursday Night Football. I first like the over 48.5. You saw that Buffalo's defense had trouble stopping the Cardinals in Buffalo last week. Now you're going to go down to Miami, where the game time temperature expected to be 82 degrees down there in Miami Gardens. It's not going to be a comfortable game. Both defenses are going to be struggle bus tonight. I think there's going to be an offensive game. I expect it to be kind of like a Dolphins 35-20 or a 30, maybe like a 36-28 kind of game. And that leads me to my second pick. I think Miami covers the 2.5-point spread. I think they win by 3 or more points. I also like the Dalton Kincaid anytime touchdown. I think it's at plus 240 at most sports books. So it's somewhere between like 220, 240. I think Kincaid is the only real legitimate option in the Bills offense tonight. The Dolphins defense, they have shown you they're not great at defending tight ends the last couple of years. So give me Dalton Kincaid anytime touchdown. Also, college football. Not a great slate of college football tonight, but I do like one game. I did a little research on this. So apparently Texas State, I figured out why they keep dominating the Group 5 schools, because they have become like the place to go for offensive and defensive linemen who don't get big-time college football program offers. I think they're going to cover the 1.5 points at home against Arizona State. Remember, home teams in college football, they win almost 60% of the time. So we got Dolphins, Bills over 48.5, Miami to cover 2.5, Dalton Kincaid anytime touchdown, and Texas State to cover the 1.5 versus Arizona State. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night. I'll catch you tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN.
Saturday on Compass Media Network's coverage of NCAA football. Camp Randall Stadium will be...
Thank you to everybody watching on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig. I did want to give some further clarity to the comment that I made to Rob Motti earlier, because I am fully aware that not everyone follows the news as intently as I do, here's the story of events. All right. A couple weeks ago, Brittany Mahomes, who is Patrick Mahomes' wife, and there's a contingent of people who don't like her, by the way, for a variety of reasons. She was found to have liked certain posts that were deemed positive to former President Donald Trump. Okay. And she came out with a very abrasive response where she basically ripped all the people who were ripping her because of her beliefs, basically. And Brittany has been one of the women who have publicly come out and spoken out against the transgender issue in women's sports, the issue of men saying that I'm a woman now and competing in sports like swimming, for example, or in boxing, right? So she has been one of the women who has publicly come out in position of that. So it is natural that she would probably politically be aligned with the beliefs in the political positions of a candidate like former President Donald Trump. It's not the craziest thing in the world, but because in today's world, everything becomes a meme, everything becomes a conversation, everything becomes a controversy, she was put under this massive spotlight. Then, the less than 12 hours after Donald Trump debated Vice President Kamala Harris, he was on Fox News and he was asked about Taylor Swift coming out and endorsing Kamala Harris. And the former president came out and he said that, well, I prefer Miss Mahomes anyway. I think she's a great woman, blah, blah, blah. I don't really like that Taylor Swift anyway. So then the media in Kansas City decided, all right, well, maybe we have a story here, right? So then they went to Patrick Mahomes and asked him about all of this. And Mahomes' answer is an answer that I generally appreciated. Not because I'm a person who says, shut up and dribble, right? I'm not one of those people who doesn't think athletes and public figures should have opinions, have beliefs. You know, endorse what they want. It's a free country. I believe in free speech. Okay. I'm not the guy who's going to tell you that if you disagree with me to, shut up, or I'm going to try to censor you. Okay. I don't believe in that stuff. But I love what Mahomes said, because what Patrick Mahomes did is he basically took a situation that could have been controversial and toxic and all this stuff, and he turned it into, hey, listen, I think you should vote. I'm a believer in that, but I'm not a believer in being a guy to come up here and use my platform to endorse politicians. He says he wants to stay out of the election. He says that, whatever Donald Trump says or his wife says is basically doesn't, necessarily reflect him. Okay. And he said that, quote, I don't want my place. Here's the exact quote. I don't want my place and my platform to be used to endorse a candidate or do whatever either way. He told the media, he says, I think my place is to inform people to get registered to vote. It is to inform people to do their own research and then make the best decision for them and their family. And he said, at the end of the day, it's about me and my family, how we treat other people. He said, I think you see Britain do a lot in the community. I do a lot in the community to bring people up and give people the opportunity to use their voice. He went on to say, in political times, people are going to use stuff here and there, but I can't let that affect how I go about my business every single day of my life and trying to live it to the best of my ability. And I think the reason why I like that answer is because he did not let anyone manipulate or, draw him into this no-win political crossfire that is going on in this country. There is such a divisiveness going on in the world we live in. And I appreciate the fact that Mahomes said, look, I'm not getting involved in this. I'm not going to be the guy drawn in to this political crossfire. I don't know what Patrick Mahomes' political beliefs are. I don't know what exactly he stands on, doesn't stand on, and nor do I care. Okay? Again, I'm a believer in you should be allowed to say and believe what you want as long as it doesn't hurt anybody. And if Patrick Mahomes feels like it's in the best interest of him and his family to not take political sides, then I applaud him for it. Just like I would applaud him if he was the guy who came out and said, hey, I endorse this candidate or that candidate. Okay? Because at the end of the day, I think that we have gotten so far away from what should be a discourse of conversation. I said it the other day, we don't have debates in this country anymore. We have agendas and shouting matches. So I tend to believe that Patrick Mahomes handled it very well. I'm glad that he did, because it takes the heat off of his wife. So he protected his wife. It takes the heat off of him. So it takes the attention and the heat off of his teammates, so they don't have to respond to him saying something. Patrick Mahomes did what was in the best interest of his wife, his teammates, his job, and everyone around him. And I think that's why, for me, I applaud him, because I want people to have that kind of self-awareness. There's not enough self-awareness in this society. We have a lot of people who just want to vomit opinions. They just want to put whatever they're feeling out there. And they don't actually think about how what they say and do impacts other people. So that's why I applaud Patrick Mahomes. Josh Hennig here on my YouTube channel, at Josh Hennig on the Twitter X platform. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. I'll catch you next time right here on 97.3 ESPN FM, as well as my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig. Have a great night, everybody. Enjoy the game tonight, and I'll catch you tomorrow.